Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I don't know if I've ever been more intrigued to see a champion spotlight than this Guillotine. There are several reasons why this is. She was one of my first ever Awakened 4 stars and was a workhorse for me way back when map 5 meant I was fighting defenders who were at 5,000 or 6,000 level PI. Obviously now it's 3 times that. But the bigger thing is that this was a really controversial vote that made a lot of people upset who felt like Ant-Man was clearly going to be the choice. But there were a couple of takeaways from that. The first was that they hadn't factored in the main vote, which was the arena vote. And that was tough because that wasn't the most transparent vote. And so you felt like you knew where the voting stood. And actually, from the sounds of it, Guillotine was always going to be the winner and Ant-Man never had a chance. But the other thing was there was this fear that if Ant-Man got buffed somehow by proxy, as my man Brian Shadowstrike said to me today, that Ghost would be nerfed because they would tweak Ant-Man's synergies and maybe make it not as good because, as you all know, the Quantum Realm, I call it the Quantum Realm Quad because it's not just with Wasp and Ant-Man, it's also with the Hood. But anyhow, whether or not you voted for Guillotine, we are talking about her champion spotlight, and there was so much hope that she would be as good or better than a very good tech champ in Guillotine 2099. So we're going to skip the description. Has no bearing on the buff. Guillotine's mechanics. Guillotine revels in the blood of her enemies, releasing her bloodthirsty blade on her enemies. Guillotine has a chance. God, I always hate a chance. I wish they just took out the words a chance or the letter a chance and then just says Guillotine inflicts bleed debuffs with each swipe. I just wish it said that. I get that maybe it's too OP, but I feel like Nick Fury inflicts bleed with just about each swipe. Earning her attack boosting soul charges while recovering a percentage of her own hit points for each percentage of damage dealt. Not inflicting enough bleeds for your liking? Throw a heavy attack into the mix to cast a bleed curse on the unfortunate opponent, followed by a special attack. So maybe like a heavy special 2. This will guarantee you bleeds with each hit, and if Guillotine is unshackled, you can be sure no block can match her blade. Once enough soul charges have been accrued, activate your special 3 to inflict a debilitating degeneration debuff. Always enjoy degen debuffs because very few people, if any, are immune to degen. Lasting until all charges have been spent or your opponent has fallen. Alright, so we've got the base stats. I have a 6-star Awakened Guillotine. This is reason number 3 as to why I was excited to review this champion spotlight. Alright, we know she's Mystic. She's got Bleed, Bleed Curse, Spectra, degen, Strengths, high damage potential. Stacking bleeds, especially when heavy special combos, can deal some serious damage over time, especially with the high number of soul charges. Buff heavy opponents. Opponents who utilize many buffs at one time will quickly realize their folly, as Guillotine's chance to inflict bleeds rises with each buff on the opponent. I wonder if that actually includes somebody, though, that has passive buffs like Iron Man Infinity War, because that guy ain't bleeding for nothing. Weaknesses. Purify. Opponents who are not immune can purify Guillotine's bleed debuffs, can severely hamper her ability to deal and heal damage. Concussion. Having a big metal sword has its perks, but a certain master of magnetism Magneto can turn off much of what Guillotine relies on. Alright. Life Siphon. Always active. Guillotine heals 2% of all damage taken by the opponent. 2% sounds small, so we'll see how that factors into the region once we have a chance to play her out. Developer's note, all damage stack those bleeds and watch the HP roll in. Okay, so yeah, the higher amount of damage, the more regen. That makes sense. Soul charges, max stacks 15. I always think of 15 stacks because of Thing. Each time either champion loses 5% of their max health or is inflicted with the bleed effect, gain 1 soul charge. The first 10 soul charges are indefinite, and additional charges last 10 seconds each. Each soul charge grants 148.92 attack rating. At 10 plus soul charges, Guillotine becomes unshackled, enhancing her special attacks until she's back below 6 charges. Developers note, wait until Guillotine is at 10 plus charges, then unleash her special heavy combo for maximum damage, especially, apparently, if it's a special 3. Critical hits, 35% chance to inflict a bleed debuff. I wish it was 50, 35%. I mean, it's better than 1/3, but it's still, again, such a random percent. I talked about my issues with the percentage system with Vegan Thor this morning. Causing 1,737 direct damage over 5 seconds. Chance increases by a flat 5% for each buff on the opponent. So I guess you can get close to 100%. I don't know. Crit rate is important for Guillotine, maximizing this stat. And reliability, inflicting crits means more bleeds more often. That definitely reminds me of a different Mystic back in the day, Miss OG Scarlet Witch. Heavy attack, 100% chance to inflict a 10-second bleed curse debuff. An opponent with a bleed curse suffers a bleed debuff, causing 2,233 direct damage over 5 seconds each time they're struck with a special attack. Well, that definitely makes sense of why you want to fire off a special right after that. Developers note, Guillotine's heavy is incredibly important. Don't forget to use it before launching a special attack for maximum damage output. Again, particularly with a special 3. Special attacks, Unshackle Guillotine is passively unblockable during the attack. Special 1, La Force, I'm going to totally butcher that. Entress? It's embarrassing, right? Final hit has a 100% chance to inflict a Pain Link debuff lasting 10 seconds. A Pain Link debuff, that's what my new students call my quizzes. While active, any non-physical damage taken by Guillotine is also inflicted on the opponent as physical damage. Unshackled, spend 10 souls to apply an additional Pain Link debuff when launching the attack. Okay, interesting. Note, damage over time, damage got you down, share the pain with your opponent. That sounds like really bad relationship advice. Special 2, Coupe de Masseur. This French has got me sounding more ignorant American than ever before. Final hit has a 100% chance to inflict a Spectre debuff for 10 seconds, reducing the regeneration rate by 200%. 10 souls of positive Spectre for 10 seconds. That all sounds very confusing. I'm just going to have to work with it. I feel like you want a special 3. Like you want to fire a heavy and then fire a special 3. That's what I'm getting out of this. 100% chance to inflict a degeneration debuff causing 1,737.4 direct damage over 3 seconds. Then consume all soul charges to increase the degen duration by 3 seconds for each soul spent. Again, a lot of numbers, a lot of words. We're just going to have to see. Passive. Whenever the opponent is immune to Guillotine's personal bleed effects, she has a 100% chance to inflict a matching Rupture debuff, causing physical damage. This Rupture debuff grants 1 soul charge. Synergy bonuses, you got Black Panther, Venom, Red Skull, Morningstar, Guillotine 2099. That's the really important one, along with Magic for the plus with the crit rating, because that will help the bleeds stack. Covered recommended masteries, Recovery, Precision and Cruelty, Glass Cannon. By increasing her attack by as much as possible, Guillotine also increases her health regeneration via Life Siphon. That makes a lot of sense. Now, I get why some of you are reading this and thinking, I'm let down by this huge buff. We should have voted for Ant-Man. And you might have Ant-Man regret. I imagine that's probably going to be the title of this video. Something to the effect of that. I'm intrigued. I have been excited to rank up my 6-star Guillotine to rank 2 since she's awakened for a while. And I don't think this is going to deter me. But this is one of those buffs that could be kind of either way. I was excited about the King Group buff. And then I used him and I'm like, I can see how he's a regen tank like Mr. Evan Peterson says. But I just didn't feel like using him that much. Maybe it'll be the case with Guillotine. Maybe not. But Ant-Man definitely deserves a buff ASAP. That's for sure. So thank you for watching YouTube. Let's keep this video under 10 minutes. Brian, Shadow Strike, as always, I appreciate the info and the discussion we have behind the scenes. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Thanks for watching.